Hello children, today we are going to cover the remaining portion of class ninth from the book of Behave, and the chapter is the bond of love, ninth chapter. We have explained in the previous video up to 16th paragraph. In this video I am going to explain line by line from 17th paragraph of this chapter, and I hope all the students would be curious and very careful to go through the text where I am reading out. 17th. For the next 3 hours, she would not leave that case. She gave him tea, lemonade, cakes, ice cream, and what not. Narrator's wife. She was not leaving the case at least for 3 hours. She stayed near the Baba Bruno for 3 hours. She offered him tea, lemonade, cakes, ice cream, and so many things. Means she offered everything what she had with her. Then closing time came and we had to leave. Now it's the time of closing the Jew, and we all had to leave from there. My wife cried bitterly. Baba cried bitterly. Narrator's wife and Bruno both were crying bitterly, loudly, being very serious and emotional for each other because they loved each other. Bruno loved narrator's wife, and she also loved him. Even the hardened curator and keepers felt depressed. As for me, I had reconciled myself to what I knew was going to happen next. Even the curator, the gateman or the watchman of the Jew, as well as all the keepers of Jew, became depressed. They became disappointed. They also were not feeling well after watching the condition of Bruno and my wife. And I, as far as I knew, I had reconciled, I satisfied myself to what I knew was going to happen next. It was the bitter truth that I accepted, and it was to leave from there because it was the time of closing the gate of the Jew. So we could not stay anymore over there. Oh, please, sir, she asked the curator. May I have my Baba back? Hesitantly he answered, Madam, he belongs to the Jew and is government property now. Narrator's wife requested the curator to bring Baba back to her home in Bangalore. Hesitantly, he answered, narrator's wife enforced or requested the curator to bring Bruno back to her home, but curator hesitates, and he answered that you can't bring Baba back to your home because he is now government's property. It is not yours any longer. I cannot give you away government property, and being the honest servant of government, I cannot let you bring it to your home because it is government's property. But if my boss, the superintendent at Bangalore, agrees, certainly you may have him back. But curator suggests narrator's wife to contact boss in the Bangalore. If he agrees, you can bring him back, certainly. There is no doubt. If my boss or the superintendent of the Jew would be agree and he allows you to bring your Baba or Bruno back to your home, you can carry him. There followed the return journey to Bangalore and a visit to the superintendent's bungalow. A tearful pleading, Baba and I are both fretting for each other. There followed the return journey to Bangalore. Narrator and his wife came to Bangalore for visiting the superintendent's bungalow along with his companion. A tearful pleading. Baba and I both were fretting for each other. I was also worried about Baba, and Baba also was fretted for me. Will you please give him back to me? I asked. The narrator requests to superintendent of the Jew to bring back his Baba. He was a kind-hearted man and consented. Narrator's request was accepted by the superintendent. He was a kind-hearted and polite person. Not only that, but he wrote to the curator telling him to lend us a case for transporting the beer to Bangalore. He was very kind-hearted and he was a good person. He did not allow us to bring our Baba back, but also he wrote a letter to the curator to provide us a case in which we could shift and carry the Bruno easily to Bangalore. Back we went to Mysore again, armed with the superintendent's letter. Baba was driven into a small case and hoisted on the top of the car. As we gave the letter to the curator of the Jew, he allowed us to bring and take out Baba from the case, and he shifted in a small case and hoisted at the top of the car. We managed and tied firmly the case at the top of our car. The case was tied securely, and we tied the case firmly, strongly, and a slow and careful return journey to Bangalore was accomplished. Now they have completed their journey from Mysore to Bangalore again. They brought the big Bruno at home in Bangalore. Once home, a squad of coolies were engaged for special work in our compound. An island was made for Baba. I called some coolies, squad of coolies were engaged for special work, and they made an island for Baba where Baba could be shifted comfortably. It was 20 feet long and 15 feet wide. Now the narrator describes the size of place or island where Baba has to be shifted. It was 20 feet long and 15 feet wide. Its breadth was 15 feet and length was 20 feet. It was surrounded by a dry pit or moat 6 feet wide and 7 feet deep. A wooden box that once housed fowls was brought and put on the island for Baba to sleep in at night. And also, we managed a box on that island in which Baba could sleep easily at night. Straw was placed inside to keep him warm, and we managed somehow straws, hot straws, which could warm the Baba and his baby. The gnarled stump, along with his gun, the piece of bamboo, both of which had been sentimentally preserved since he had been sent away to the Jew, were put back for him to play with. And we placed every articles that we managed when he was a baby. And since he went to the Jew, we had everything. We did not throw a single article to ruin it. We replaced and kept all the articles like bamboos, stump, like gun in the box in order to Baba's entertainment. He could play with it. In a few days, the coolies hosted the case onto the island or Baba was released. In a few days, the coolies hosted the case onto the island and Baba was released. He was delighted. Standing on his hind legs, he pointed his gun and cradled his baby. He was cradling, looking after his baby. My wife spent hours sitting on a chair there while he sat on her lap. He was 15 months old and pretty heavy too. My wife spent hours sitting on chair there while he sat on her lap. Bruno sat on my wife's lap when my wife sat in the chair for hours. He was 15 months old and pretty heavy too. Narrator describes the weight of Bruno. He was 15 months old and his weight was so heavy. The way my wife reaches the island and leaves, it is interesting. It was very interesting. The way was very interesting as my wife reaches to the island. I have tied a rope to the overhanging branch of a mango tree with a loop at its end. There was a mango tree, and I tied a rope to the overhanging. There was an overhanging branch of the mango, and putting one foot in the loop, she kicks off with the other to bridge the 6 foot gap that constitutes with the width of the surrounding pit. She kicks her next step by kicking the other to the breeze and the 6 foot gap. There was 6 foot gap between two constitutes with the width of surrounding pit. The return journey is made the same way, but who can say now that a sloth bear has no sense of affection, no memory, and no individual characteristics? It seems that an animal, sloth bear, he has also the sense of affection because he loved a lot to my wife and he has a great memory. After 2 years, when my wife visited Jew in the Mysore, he identified and recognized in a while. Immediately he recognized my wife. And he has no individual characteristics. It couldn't be said about a sloth bear. He has also the characteristics of individualism. He could feel everything. Now, this chapter has been finished. I hope you have got it, and you will prepare and revise all the paragraphs that I have explained in this video. Keep learning and keep watching.